Bitcoin price has gone through quite a roller coaster. What do you think is the high point it's going to hit?
I think it'll go up forever.
The following is a conversation with Michael Saylor, one of the most prominent and brilliant Bitcoin proponents in the world.
I think in the Bitcoin world, what we would say is that Bitcoin is the most difficult property that the human race possesses or has yet invented to confiscate. And that's by virtue of the fact that you could take possession of it via your private keys. So, if you got your 12 seed phrases in your head, then that would be the highest form of property right, because I literally have to crack your head open and read your mind to take it. It doesn't mean I couldn't extract it from you under duress, but it means that it's harder than every other thing you might own. If you, in fact, it's exponentially harder. If you consider every other thing you might own, a car, a house, a share of stock, gold, diamonds, property rights, intellectual property rights, movie rights, music rights, anything imaginable, they would all be easier by orders and orders of magnitude to seize. So digital property in the form of a set of private keys is by far the apex property of the human race. The thing that makes Bitcoin ethical for me to even promote is the knowledge that I can't change it. The difference between digital property and physical property is when you own a building in Los Angeles and the city politics turn against you, you can't move the building.
Yeah.
And when you own a share of a security that's like a US traded security and you wish to move to some other country, you can't take the security with you either. And when you own a bunch of gold and you try to get through the airport, they might not let you take it. So Bitcoin is advantageous versus all those because you actually do have the option to withdraw your asset from the exchange. Because you have the optionality to withdraw all your assets from the crypto exchange, you can enforce fairness. And at the point where you disagree with their policies, you can, within an hour, move your assets to another counterparty or take personal custody of those assets. And you don't have that option with most other forms of property. Maybe you don't have as much optionality with any other form of property on Earth. And so what makes digital property distinct is the fact that it has the most optionality for custody. And so if you look at most people everywhere in the world, they don't have property rights, they don't have effective bank, and their currency is broken. There are no banks, you can't get a bank account. So I give you your pay in currency, and then I double the supply and I give it to my cousin, or I give it to whatever cause I want, or I use it to buy weapons, and then you find a loaf of bread costs triple next month is what it costs, and your life savings is worthless. Life is hopeless for a lot of people, and Bitcoin is hope, right? Because it gives everyone an engineered monetary asset that's a bearer instrument, and it gives them a bank on their mobile phone, and they don't have to trust their government or another counterparty with their life force.
Mm-hmm. So Bitcoin price has gone through quite a roller coaster. What do you think is the high point it's going to hit?
I think it'll go up forever, right? I mean, I think the Bitcoin is going to climb in a serpentine fashion. It's going to advance and come back, and it's going to keep climbing. I think that the volatility attracts all the capital into the marketplace. And so the volatility makes it the most interesting thing in the financial universe. It also generates massive yield and massive returns for traders. And that attracts capital. Like we're talking about the difference between 5% return and 500% return. Mm-hmm. So the fast money is attracted by the volatility. The volatility has been decreasing year by year by year. I think that it's stabilizing. I don't think we'll see as much volatility in the future as we have in the past. I think that if we look at Bitcoin and model it as digital gold the market cap goes to between 10 and 20 trillion. But gold is defective property. Gold is dead money. You have $1 billion of gold that sits in a vault for a decade. It's very hard to mortgage the gold. It's also very hard to rent the gold. You can't loan the gold. No one's going to create a business with your gold. So gold doesn't generate much of a yield. So for that reason, most people wouldn't store $1 billion for a decade in gold. They would buy $1 billion of commercial real estate property. And the reason why is because I can rent it and generate a yield on it that's in excess of the maintenance cost. So if you consider digital property, that's $100 to $200 trillion addressable market. So I would think it goes from 10 trillion to 100 trillion as people start to think of it as digital property.
What does that mean in terms of price per coin?
At 500,000, right? That's a $10 trillion asset. At 5 million, that's a $100 trillion asset.
So you think it crosses 1 million, it can go even higher?
Yeah, I think it keeps going up forever. I mean, there's no reason it couldn't go to 10 million a coin.